You are now listening to The World Within. The World Within. With your hosts, Christian and Ethan.
Welcome to the World Within podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Christian.
And I'm Ethan, and this time I don't have a laptop.
He doesn't.
But it's alright because I have a super powerful cellular device that,
super powerful.
Stronger than the computer that got us to the moon.
Does it have...
Or did it get us to the moon?
Does it have 5G, is the question.
I can't tell you that. It's classified information. I'm a CIA operative.
Well, if it has 5G, you have the coronavirus.
I do.
That's what caused the coronavirus.
Maybe I'm the one who caused the coronavirus. Because I built 5G.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
No.
I'm one of the CIA
that's what he thinks.
Executives.
But, hey, thank you guys. We're getting September's already. This is what, September 10th?
This year's going by quick.
We're killing it though.
We are killing it. A lot of content, a lot of stuff, a lot of videos and episodes coming out, and quality. I'm enjoying the topic so far this month.
Yeah, and our downloads have been up. Comments on the YouTube we've been just super appreciative with you guys.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, let's talk about our social medias.
Yeah. So we got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They're all great, I think, ways to communicate to everyone here. You know, it's easy to use, free. Everyone's free.
It is free,
and it doesn't cost to follow or subscribe. So it's just it's just right there. You can follow it, and if you need, we'll keep you up to date. Every time an episode drops, you'll know, and it's a great way to communicate really with everyone, and we're meeting a lot of good people, and
definitely
having good conversations with some people.
Yeah, for sure. On that note as well, though, we have, if you want to spend some pretty pennies, we have stickers you guys can buy. We have t-shirts that you guys can get on our Patreon. That's patreon.com/theworldwithin.
Hey, where'd you get that t-shirt from?
I got it from Patreon.
Actually,
I didn't.
You didn't get it from Patreon?
I was the one that designed this shirt. Wow. So, but you can get it on Patreon.
But you can. if
That's the thing. So yeah, if you guys just whatever, So anything helps. A view on YouTube all the way to our $100 package on Patreon. You have to check out Patreon and see what that includes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's some cool stuff there.
That's an exclusive club.
That is. So, all right, we're talking about Edmund Kemper.
The co-ed killer.
This guy, creepy. He is creepy. Super
creepy.
But intelligent at the same time.
He's so menacing, I think, is how I would describe him, because he's 6'9". I mean, that's...
Yeah, not the rapper, not the shitty rapper.
He's not 6'9".
He's not the horrible rapper, 6'9".
Speak for yourself.
Oh, yeah, But, yeah, at the time of his arrest, he was 6'9", 300 pounds.
That's a big man.
That's a big boy. He was known as a gentle giant.
Yeah, so he was a very good, so he was also very intelligent.
Very.
He had an IQ of 145 the last time he was tested.
Yeah.
And, just put that in perspective, that's, Einstein's was 160, so...
Yeah, so...
It's 15 IQ points less than
Einstein himself.
Who people, can collectively say is the smartest person to ever live.
Right. So he was born. Let's go to his early life.
Oh, yeah,
he was born in 1948 in Burbank, California. Good place.
They know how to party.
They do know how to party.
California knows how to party.
They do. He had two sisters. One was older. One was younger. The big thing with all this is the sisters got all the love from the mom.
From mom.
Mom didn't like Kemper.
Oh, no. She was... You could say she hated Kemper.
You could definitely say that, for sure. She was an abusive alcoholic who just belittled Edmund every single chance she could get.
Oh, yeah.
She just absolutely
both verbally
him.
And physically.
And what sucks is the sisters would actually join in on the abuse.
Oh, yeah.
They would tease him and, just be horrible to him.
Well, to the sisters' defense as well, they kind of were taught that, and their mom, I'm sure, would feed into that heavily. And
right.
Not saying it's acceptable, but it all stems from the mom, really.
Yeah, but still, they had a whole family. There was a dad in the picture. He was actually a World War II vet, and he actually went on record after this saying that he was overseas for like a year and 96 days or whatever, and he said living with her was worse than being on the front lines in World War II. So
Classic.
if that just tells you how horrible the mom was,
Oh yeah,
there
for
you
sure.
go. You know,
That's not a what an absolute destruction of.
just horrible.
He completely
you know?
destroyed her. That's not even. He reduced her to atoms. Here,
Literally.
with that destruction there.
So, as a young boy, actually at age 10, Kemper showed signs of being extremely antisocial. I don't blame him. And even sadistic. You want to talk about the family cat?
So Kemper here, his mom, or their family, I should say, they had a cat, had a nice little pet.
Nice little cat.
They also, they raised animals here. I'll go into this here. So back in the day here, you would raise your own food, it's cheaper and it's, more, homely, I guess.
Yeah.
So they raised like vegetable, like his mom had a garden in the back to like make vegetables and shit. And then, the dad, he would go out and, kill chickens to eat for dinner. And,
how do you kill a chicken, Ethan?
So when you kill a chicken, everyone knows you decapitate it. You take its head off, and they'll run around for a little bit because chickens.
Chicken without a head.
Chicken without a head, they just run around. And at one day, his dad actually did this in front of Kemper because you're kind of trying to teach your son this is what you do. Trying to make him a man.
Right.
And Kemper didn't like this because he loved the animals. He saw them as like his pets and everything. He would like name them and play with them and everything.
Yeah, it has to be tough on a child.
Oh yeah,
like this is your friend, and all of a sudden, dad's cutting their head off.
Yeah, and you're gonna eat it for dinner.
Yeah, this is your dinner.
But I mean, they probably could have told him not to name them and told him that it was food and everything earlier before. But so that happened, and they tried to make him eat it and all this, and he refused to eat his dinner. He was not having it. So he decided to keep refusing to eat, and they were like yelling at him, like trying to force him to eat because you have to eat.
Eat, boy. You gotta eat, boy.
Yeah, and so he ran away. He got on his bike later that night, and he rode away, but he was like, well, I'm 10 years old. I can't really survive out here on my own. So he came back home, and, some time passed, and then he kind of learned that this is what happens. You gotta, the chickens are your food and all this. And so he kind of accepted like the death of these animals and like understood more. And then he killed the cat here. He killed the family cat, the famous cat. And how he did it was very sadistic, as you said earlier.
Right.
So what he did is he buried it alive. Which isn't great, already a terrible death. And then so then he decided it wasn't enough to just bury it alive. No. So he dug it back up and then decapitated the cat, took its head clean off, and he stuck it on a stick and then, put it in the ground.
Yeah,
that's some like Russian war Mongol way of doing things.
Interesting. I mean,
it's absolutely
at 10 years old.
At 10 years old, yeah, that's
crazy. Like that's just disturbing.
Yeah.
And so then more time passed after this whole cat on a stick happened. The family was like, you know what? They never found the stick, the cat's head on the stick or anything. He actually was proud of himself for the family never catching him for killing the cat. Yeah. So they were sad about the cat. So then 3 years later, at age 13, they got a new cat. They got a new family cat.
New cat.
They wanted some new pussy, And so...
I'm sure the dad did, for sure.
The dad definitely did. So they had a family cat, and Kemper was pissed, right?
Oh,
because his younger sister...
killed that cat. What happened?
The cat fucking loved the sister. The cat loved the little sister, and he grew a jealousy because this cat was, what the hell? I treat this cat good. What the hell, Mm-hmm. So what do you naturally do when you're jealous? What he did is he cut the cat into 20 different pieces and hid it in the closet until his mom found it.
That's not what I would do.
No?
Yeah, maybe
you don't do that when you're jealous?
No, maybe I would just be like, okay, maybe this cat is just, not a fan of me. Maybe I should just, accept that and move on.
Why did they never get a dog is my question.
They're a cat family.
I'm a dog guy.
I'm a dog guy for sure.
Yeah, I give it.
Maybe Ed Kemper was a dog guy too, and
he was. He just hated the cats. I wouldn't say I hate cats. I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't bury a cat alive and then cut its head off and stick it on a stick. I don't have
that much hatred for a cat.
20 pieces, but I
just prefer a dog.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. Are you
reasonable.
Are you a cat or a dog guy?
If you're a cat person, you can just leave now.
Yeah, just dogs elite.
Elite.
Literally elite.
That's true.
So get this story. So his childhood's a whole bunch of fun. So Kemper's older sister actually teased him because he had a crush on his second grade teacher. So I mean, he's pretty young, second grade.
Yeah. A harmless crush on your teacher.
So the older sister would mock him and said, "Oh, why don't you just kiss her since you have such a crush on her?" Just kind of brotherly, sisterly teasing, and in which he responded to her and said, "If I kiss her, I'd have to kill her first." Come on, bro. What? Why are you saying weird shit like that?
Come on, Ed.
Ed, dude. And he would actually recall that as a young boy, he would sneak out and get his father's bayonet, and he would go into his second grade teacher's window and just watch her through the windows.
Is he the watcher?
He could be the watcher.
Except he's in prison.
From episode 7.
But you can send mail from prison, so...
You can.
But how do you know?
Yeah,
This is falling apart the more you think about it.
Do you have 145 IQ, though?
I don't have an 145.
So you
maybe,
never know. He found a way to menace from the...
Maybe.
From the back.
From the
chains. So, yeah, basically, his parents got divorced, and he was actually forced to still live with his abusive mother, and they moved to the good old Montana.
Montana is a lot of open places, a lot of places to hide bodies, of cats that you've murdered.
Yeah, of murderous cats.
Yeah, and so the divorce was really hard on Edmund for sure because not only did he have to go live with his mother, but he didn't really talk. His dad kind of just completely disappeared, and he loved his dad. His dad actually he looked up to his dad, and his dad was a big part of his life, and then because it was kind of your comfort spot when one of your parents is that horrible to you.
Right.
And so he was completely torn up and devastated about his dad. But it also didn't help that the treatment that his mother gave him after he had to go live with her in Montana, it just got so much worse.
So much worse. Good old Mama Kemper. What a bitch.
Yeah, so she, not only did she continuously and more progressively get worse at belittling him and always making fun of him and treating him terribly and physically and emotionally abusing him, she catch this, she had made him sleep in a locked basement because her reasoning behind this is that she was fearful that he would rape and his younger sister.
He would rape and his younger sister.
Yes.
Yeah, just raping the younger sister. Which, would he have actually done it? That's kind of up to you to decide.
At this point, I don't think Ed was that. I don't think he would do. I think maybe murder I would understand more.
Yeah.
Killer. But
yeah, I wonder what the mom's reasoning behind thinking that is. Did she know that he was kind of he had just kind of he was a sexual deviant in a way?
Yeah, maybe. I think she was just such a horrible person that she thought that Ed was the worst thing that could possibly happen to any part of her family.
I mean, she had a huge hatred. The mom had a huge hatred for men. For men in general,
yes, that's true.
She actually remarried in Montana, I was reading, and that didn't even really last very long.
No one wants to be married to that.
Yeah, just, ugh. But, yeah, so Kemper ran away from all that because mom was at an all-time high
of bad,
abuse. Yeah. So he ran away and returned to California to find his father. He was going back to dad.
Yeah.
And he actually found his dad, and when he found him, he found out that the dad remarried and actually had a son.
Which had to be soul-crushing for him.
Yeah.
That had to, push him over the edge,
I've
for sure.
been replaced,
Yeah. And he was a very jealous person. You
Very
could
jealous.
tell.
I mean, he killed a cat and chopped it up in pieces. Just due to it loving something more. He doesn't kill the stepson.
He doesn't kill the stepson.
Yeah, he doesn't kill
the son.
The son of the dad.
His half-brother.
There you go. But he actually lived with his father for a short period.
Yeah, not very long.
Not very long. The dad was like, I have a new life.
Yeah.
You got to get out of here. So he forced him to live back with his mom. But the mom at this time was like, nah, I don't want him. I don't want him. So he lived with the good old grandparents. What happened there?
All right. So the grandparents, so he didn't really like his grandmother, you could say. His grandfather, he was kind of impartial to. I got from what I was reading, he didn't really hate his grandfather, but like he kind of had a resentment, I guess.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with him growing up. The women in his life would
always every single one of them,
So he probably just had like just a kind of a resentment towards women at this point. So that probably just made a rift.
And I mean, at this point, he had so much just built up inside of him from the abuse, and then finding out that your dad, doesn't want you really.
The family didn't supply enough cats for him to kill.
Yeah, he didn't have any more cats. They didn't get any more cats.
He had to move on.
So he got to a point where he was 15 years old at this point. He was living with his grandparents, who he hated, and he got in an argument one day with his grandmother. And he just was so built up with anger and rage that he grabbed his grandfather's rifle and shot her in the head and killed her instantly. And not so
great. Not a good way to end an argument,
And so he was a pretty tall and big guy. I mean,
he was a 6'4" at this time.
6'4", that's pretty big.
15 is just
So
ridiculous.
he grabbed his grandmother's body and was like bringing it to go hide it somewhere. Because, you just killed your grandmother. He knew he was going to be in some deep shit if he was caught.
Yeah.
So he was going to hide it, but then he heard old grandfather's car pull up.
What do you think Grandpa drove? 69 Mustang?
No.
You don't think so?
Probably some, like a Chrysler.
Just a basic old... No, probably an Oldsmobile. Or a Buick.
Probably.
A Buick. That's what Grandpa drove.
Probably.
I mean, loud enough for him to hear him roll up.
Oh, yeah. So he heard him pulling up. I don't think he drove a Prius back then.
No.
You don't think he pulled up in a Prius going under 15 miles an hour?
No, I don't think so.
It's practically impossible to hear.
That's true.
This is not an ad for Prius, but
unless you're Prius, you can sponsor us.
Yeah, just send us an email when the world was in
CE@gmail.
So he was dragging his grandmother. He heard his grandfather's car pull up. Do you think it had the old-timey horn? Yeah, I don't think so. But he heard him come up, and he was kind of afraid. He was fearful a little bit of the resentment and like the scolding and how much trouble he'd be in when his grandfather found out that he shot his wife in the head. So he took the rifle and shot and killed his grandfather in the driveway.
That's a good way to avoid punishment, for sure.
Yeah,
that's
shoot your way out.
There. Yeah,
shoot your way out.
Shoot your way out.
Shoot and ask questions later is really
exactly.
So obviously he was 15. He was caught at this point.
Yeah, he wasn't a pro at this point. These were just his first kills.
Yeah, so he was caught, and then they put him in a psychiatric ward. Yeah, and he actually, like the doctors, they were saying that he was actually doing really well, like in all their meetings and everything.
Right.
And actually, his like personal psychiatrist actually became like really fond of him, and
saying he was a model.
Yeah, like model inmate, not inmate, patient.
Patient, they call him patient.
But like even to a point where Edmund, he became the psychiatrist's assistant,
right?
Which is,
he was helping him out. Yeah, that's
like, I'm assuming the psychiatrist like loved having him around.
Yeah, and initially when we went into the hospital, which I got the hospital here, was Adolescence State Hospital. Initially they diagnosed him as a paranoid schizophrenic, and after kind of befriending all these people, they actually tamed down what he actually was. I didn't write down what they kind of jumped it down to, but they didn't make it as dramatic as paranoid schizophrenic, you know? So then he was able to get out that way.
when you're this smart, he was very good at lying and like deceiving and, you know.
Yeah, that's what they said is like he didn't like pose a threat to society because they were saying that he killed who he wanted to kill. That he said that he wanted to get back at his parents, and so killing the grandparents was a good way to get
especially like to his
it.
mother and, you know.
And they said, like, typical murders and, like, sociopaths and psychopaths and everything, they display, as like, certain traits, and they said he didn't possess any of those traits when he was in there.
Right.
They couldn't see anything.
Yeah, which is interesting. I mean, like, some of the doctors were, like, skeptical.
Right.
They were like, well, I mean, maybe he is, because he took, I believe he took IQ tests when he was in the psychiatric ward, and I think he got a 136 initially, and
at 15 years old.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I mean, there was a span of time here, but like,
within in his teenager years,
136 is like insanely smart. So like some of them were like, well, maybe he's able to just like try and deceive us and like you know trying to get released, but. Really, those skeptics all for nothing because about 5 years later, he was released back into the public. And get this, his criminal record of killing 2 people completely wiped clean because of his good behavior. And
that's all you need. You just need good behavior, and then you're good.
You're good.
You're just set. So he was released to the care of his mother. Back to good old mommy, abusive alcoholic mommy.
Not a great one.
She never changed. Throughout this whole process, she never changed. She was a bitch her whole life until the end. Literally until the end. And so she was an administrative assistant at the University of California, Santa Cruz, which, I mean, they must be living a pretty good life to stick with the California living. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I know this was the 70s. It wasn't as expensive as it is now, but... Santa Cruz is a nice place.
That's a nice place.
That's a nice place for a good old mom to settle down.
I'm sure because she worked at the campus and she lived at the campus.
Yeah, I'm sure
she probably
actually,
had
cheaper living.
Cheaper living. It's a nice gig though.
That is a nice gig for sure for Mommy Kemper there.
Yeah, for such a terrible person. But so he's out. He's living with good old mommy, and 1972 rolls around, and Edmund he's back at it. He's back out on the streets. He's hunting, as he would say.
He's hungry. He's hungry for some blood. He got a taste.
Yeah, so his killing spree went from 1972 to like 1973 is when he I'll go into that later. But so he would go out usually after like his mother had one of her, because she was an alcoholic. She was a raging alcoholic, so like usually it would be like her alcoholic outbursts at him, and like whenever they got into an altercation, really, he would go out and he would find hitchhiking co-eds. It would always be women because he hated women because of like all the treatment he's had in his whole life, because pretty much every woman in his life has been terrible to him.
Right. And it was another way to get back at his mom too for these outbursts. He didn't really have the courage to kill his mom, so he kind of took it out on these younger girls. Kind of
trying to like calm him down is kind of what happened.
Yeah. Yep.
And do you want to get into to how he did these things?
So good old Kemper here, he would they'd be hitchhiking. He'd be driving by. He'd pick him up, and he'd be a nice guy. He'd be a nice guy to him. He'd offer him a ride. And then he would proceed to kill him. But, so he would go hunting, as he would say, for these females. And so he would kill them in a various different ways. He would shoot them. He would stab them. He would smother them to death. And he would do this in like secluded areas. He would kind of drive off course and everything. And once they were dead, once he ensured the death, made him a little horny after killing them. So what would he do? Oh, he would cut their heads off and have sex with their corpses.
Yikes.
That's
disgusting.
That's not great. So yeah, he'd have sex with their corpses, and then he would bring them back to the apartment where he would further dissect their bodies to kind of get a better understanding of their insides and everything. Have sex with them more, and then he would just kind of dispose of them in however way. He would throw them over a mountain, put them in a ravine, all sorts of things.
Oh, yeah.
And the police would find these bodies, but they never had a correlation until later on that it was him.
They kind of knew, like, they would be hitchhiking is, like, a common thread.
Yeah, that was towards the end.
I was watching an interview with him, and he said that, like, most of the time when he would pick up the girls and stuff, the thing they would talk about is the hitchhiking guy who'd killed them, was killing these girls, and, like, they wouldn't even realize that he was literally going to do that exact thing.
So he killed a total of 5 college girls and 1 high school student. She was 15. That's just too young, And he actually, I saw an article that he actually was engaged into a relationship with a high school student at this time. And he actually, it ended up being broken off and everything. And there's not much into the story because she has a fiance now and they want to keep it quiet and everything. Don't want to put her name out there. But, he kind of was into younger girls. I think maybe because it's easier victim, potentially.
Yeah, maybe. But maybe he kind of just had like
an easy victim when you're 6'9",
300 pounds, yeah. That's an offensive lineman in the NFL.
Literally, yeah.
But so I got on one instance here, he went out hunting and he got a girl and he would kill her out in this secluded area he brought her to, and then what he did is he brought her back home and he decapitated her head and then he hid her body, and he then took her head and put her head in his mother's garden in the back of their apartment that they had on the campus. And he did it as a joke because he claimed that his mother always wanted someone to be look up to her.
That's good. That's good.
That's such a
what a comedian,
It's such a he's very smart. Like, that's such a smart, like, kind of thing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here. Like, intelligent,
to kind of think that through. Instead of it made him really seem like he wasn't afraid to be caught or anything.
No, yeah,
he was kind of making a joke out of this. Like, I'm not gonna get busted for this. Like, I'm outsmarting everyone. I'm keeping my cool. So that's pretty fascinating. I think.
It's that's an insane, because like he would decapitate a lot of them at the residence,
at the apartment. Yeah. And there was one where he killed the girl, decapitated her and everything, and left her in the mom's closet overnight.
Man.
And then when...
But mommy was an alcoholic, so like she wouldn't even really...
Mommy's not checking the closet.
Yeah.
Come on, Mommy Kemper. And so kept her overnight, and then he proceeded to have sex with her head for like several days, it said. This guy didn't care if it was freshly wet blood or just dried up. He was just ready, I
just can't even put myself in like
thinking about it. Yeah, that's just kind of disgusting. Yeah, what a
disturbing thing.
Dude.
Yeah. So he went on this, killing spree. He got to a point where this is just like a thing that he was, but it got to a point where on Good Friday in 1973. This is the end of the killing spree, really.
The good old Friday.
So he, his mommy was at a party, partying with all the students.
She was a frat boy. She was hanging out with the frat boys.
I don't know. Do you think the professors threw parties too, or like the staff?
Maybe. But I just like to picture Mommy Kemper fucking partying it up with the frat boys.
Yeah. except she came home. He heard he was at home. He was just relaxing at home. He wasn't murdering anyone at this point.
Not at this point.
He was just, chilling at home. And
you get tired. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, you can't go murder every day.
Yeah.
He was just resting at home, and he heard his mom pull up. He's got an ear for cars.
He does have an ear for cars.
You can always hear someone pulling up. And well, I guess cars were a lot louder back then as well.
That's true. That
so
is
you
true.
probably hear it from 14 houses down. But his mom came in. She went to her bedroom because she was going to read a book after this party.
Who reads a... I mean, maybe that's an alcoholic thing. I can't read a book when I'm fucking hammered after a party.
I couldn't even look straight at a book.
Yeah. No
Not
way.
that I've ever consumed alcohol.
I don't. I don't even know what alcohol is.
I don't condone.
Can you tell me what alcohol is? I'm not
Isn't
familiar
it rubbing
with that
alcohol?
word.
Doesn't it help your
when you have a wound.
cuts and
I
stuff?
got you.
Yeah, clean them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But she went into her bed. She was just reading, and then Ed, came into her doorway, and I can imagine that's a terrifying sight, seeing Ed Kemper just standing.
Do
in
you
your
even
doorway.
see his head?
No, I think it's cut off. I think it has to be cut off.
Is that a pun there? Is that a pun there with the head cutting off?
It wasn't an intentional pun.
Unintentional pun there.
So he's 6'9". I mean, he's taken up the door frame.
Yeah.
So he stepped in, and she said some sarcastic remarks here.
She said, "What do you want, to stay up all night and talk now?" Just kind of like a bitch remark.
Like, come on, it's your son. Like, come on, talk to him.
He just wasn't. I mean, that I do believe that maybe was kind of like just the final straw.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of hearing your fucking bitchy attitude.
Like, because maybe he was like, all that mommy Kemper had to do was just show compassion, just a little bit of compassion,
a little bit, and she couldn't do it.
She couldn't even do that.
She couldn't do it. So what happened?
Ed was like, all right, whatever, good night. He was done.
Thanks, Mom.
Do you think that's how he sounded? I can tell you that's not how he sounded.
No.
I've heard him, but he wasn't going to bed. It wasn't going to be a good night for her because he came back in and beat her to death with a claw hammer.
Yeah.
Not, and that's like the backside of the hammer that you remove the nails from. If you don't know what a claw hammer is, but which I would assume is the worst end to be hit with a hammer.
Because
that's like a ripping.
You're probably not dead after the first hit, or maybe a couple. That's a painful. That's
a very painful death.
That's painful.
And so after he beat her to death with the claw hammer, he then cut her head off. As that's the Kemper style.
You got to do it.
He cut her head off and then had sex with it.
A little weird. Come on, Kemp. Come on, Kempster. You're gonna fuck your own mom's head? Come on.
He was going through protocol. He was going through his routine.
Yeah, he just kind of muscle memory there.
Yeah, because he would always say that, like, when he was killing, he kind of just, like, lost all of his intelligence and wits. He was just an animal, just, doing it.
No, that makes sense. And and it's kind of like, in a way, I bet he thought that it was, like, being, like, more, like, kind of like, I'm better than you, I'm stronger than you, like, in control in a way, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, he was, like, the perfect, like, build for, like, because he was 6'9". That's, like, a thing that people want to be, that big and that intelligent and everything.
Yeah.
But, like, those are, like, kind of desirable, like, to be tall and smart and all that.
Right.
Maybe he should have shaved the mustache. Or maybe left the middle. Like, keep the middle. Why shave the middle? Anyways, maybe he didn't want to be Hitler.
That's true.
He wanted to be opposite of Hitler.
That's true.
It was a 70s kind of look. So, beat her to death, had sex with her head, and then he ripped out her vocal cords. And he tried to get rid of those, as one does, of just the vocal cords.
Yeah.
Because, I'm assuming because he was still smart when he was doing it, he just thought differently.
Right.
I guess. And because he kind of wanted to get rid of her bitching, her all constant belittling of him and vocal humiliation of him. So he tried to put him in the garbage disposal, but he thought it was really funny when the garbage disposal couldn't get rid of it, and it actually popped it back out into the sink. And he would say, let's see. He said the garbage disposal then spat out her vocal cords, and he found it funny because it's resilience of her incessant bitching. Just again, he's just very quick-witted and just smart, thinking about things.
He's a comic, dude. He's hilarious. That's hilarious.
He's more. He should have went into the comic business. Well, I feel like a lot of comics probably hate their moms.
That's probably true.
Maybe that's part of the connection there.
There's a connection.
No, I think Adam Sandler probably loves his mom.
Yeah, that's true.
Adam Sandler's a good guy.
Some people.
But you know, he's done with the mommy. He's done his done the deed here of killing the mom. And he decided to actually then invite his mom's best friend over, which I'm assuming, and I know assuming makes an ass out of you and me, of course.
Correct.
But she was probably in on a lot of of the abuse towards him. Because I mean, if my best friend was abusing, I would be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? That's terrible.
Maybe he was still.
But I'm assuming shitty people attract shitty friends.
That's true. Maybe he was still a little horny after having sex with the mom's head. It wasn't enough, you know?
Yeah,
maybe he was realizing that this was kind of coming to an end. He kind of thought I can hide these college girls, but my own mom,
people are going to start asking questions.
Yeah, there's a connection there for sure.
Yeah, so and she worked there, so she would have been a big thing. People would check on her if she didn't show up to work.
He just called her and was like, hey, you want to come over for a movie and some popcorn?
What movie do you think he invited her to watch?
What was it, 73?
Star Wars?
Could've.
That's 3 years after.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they were. It was on
Clockwork Orange.
That was 1950s, 60s, or something like that.
What, you can't watch a movie from the past?
No, you can actually. Anyways, well, you think Ed cared about that kind of stuff? Maybe he watched Psycho. That'd be an interesting twist.
That would be a good twist.
He's kind of the opposite of Psycho, because Norman Bates loved his mom. But anyways,
So afterwards, after he killed good old mom and mommy's BFF, he actually fled to. He wrote a note, some kind of quick-witted note on the fucking
because he kind of thinks that he's smarter than everyone and all this stuff, which I mean he kind of was.
He was, and so he took a bunch of caffeine pills and drove all the way to Pueblo, Colorado.
That's a far drive.
That's a very far drive, and the whole way through, he was thinking that there's a massive manhunt out for him. They know he's been busted.
Yeah, they're after him.
And so then when he went to a restaurant or something, and he noticed that the news wasn't saying anything about the murders or anything. So he was kind of bummed out by that. And then so he went to the local phone booth. I'm not sure most of you guys know what that is anymore.
Yeah, this is 1973. Those things existed. But so he called the local police department and he confessed to the murders. And get this, the police thought it was a joke and were like, just call back later. Isn't that infamous with police and for all these serial killers? They always confess to the police some way, shape, or form, and the police are like, oh no, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah, the police, I mean, not that he wasn't trying to turn himself in and they were to get him anyways, but the police always in the cases like these or unsolved cases, especially really fumble the bag.
Yeah, a lot of ignorance with it. And so then eventually he called 911 in California. He got a hold of an old police buddy because he actually worked with police a lot.
Yeah, he actually tried to become a police officer, but they rejected him.
They said he was too big.
Yeah,
too big of a guy.
Don't you want a 6'9", 300-pound police officer laying down? I mean, he could probably kick open a door. You don't need to buy the door rams.
Yeah, fucking the Hulk, dude.
He could just stand in the door frame and just intimidate anyone.
Honestly. But so he called his old police buddy. He admitted to the crimes. They investigated it, and then there's the story. He got busted. Yeah. He finally was busted.
Mm-hmm. He turned himself in. I mean, he's one of the serial killers. Usually don't turn themselves in. They usually have a mess up, and the police get them.
Mm-hmm. I think
they just never.
He was looking for this big ending to his story. The manhunt, all this. So I think he was just bored. He was bored on the run. He knew he wasn't getting away with it.
I think he had a bit of a way of thinking, because he was very smart. He was thinking more deep about things. His life he's done. He doesn't care about anything else. Yeah. He just good to just live his life in prison now,
right?
Or just have it ended completely. Because in the court trial, he asked for the death penalty,
right?
Like, he didn't want... He
he
no point of living anymore.
He asked for death by torture. He was kind of ashamed in a way.
Someone needs to let him know that that's not a thing.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
You can't die by torture. And
come on, Kempster. He actually tried to kill himself twice while in custody.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think he's kind of just ready to have his life be over. Yeah, at this point,
it's done for. But good thing old Kempster didn't kill himself, because he was not bunkmates, but he was in the same prison as...
There's a few cellmates down.
As...
Charles Manson.
Oh, the big CM.
Not to be mistaken with Marilyn Manson.
No, not him.
But maybe.
That's pretty cool. If you were in the jail cell with...
that's a big name.
Yeah, 2 big names in that. I mean, that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure in prison a lot of people have... Like, in certain prisons, there's probably, the big guys, the big names.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he was still, like, he didn't... I mean, you're in an all-male prison. I don't want to really be that scared. I'd be scared to, mess with him.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to...
Even in prison, he was still the model prisoner, they said. All the prison guards still like him. He's very friendly. He helps out a lot. He actually didn't violate any prison rules until 2016, right?
Wow.
When he didn't want to give up a pee sample.
Which, I mean, when you're that old, you kind of don't have control of your pee in the first place. So he probably just, was struggling for a minute, and they're like, "Well, you're gonna get you a violation, man."
Yeah, it's what
he's like. Well, give me 20 seconds. Go to my bed. I'll probably piss it.
He's probably just a stingy old man at this point. He's just like, "Fuck you and your pee sample."
Yeah, he's like, "I've already given you enough pee samples.
I'm trying to take a nap here."
Yeah, something like that. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But he's still alive today. He's 71 years old. He's kicking it. He actually had, in prison, he had a good run-in with audiobooks for the blind.
Wow.
He would read books, and it had over 5,000 hours of audiobooks. And he had to hang it up. He had to hang it up back in 2016.
The way he talks, I mean, it's a good
audiobook guy. He had to hang it up in 2016 because poor old Kemper had a stroke, so he was disabled. So he had to retire from the game of audiobooks.
Well, he's been getting fed quite well in prison, because he's
still
if you look at him when he was arrested to now, he's gotten a bit chunky, you could say.
He's a big boy. But that's pretty much the end of it. He's 71,
still in prison,
kicking it.
If he ever gets released, that's a big thing.
Yeah,
he's tried parole quite a few times.
He's eligible in 2024. Let's not make it happen. This guy terrifies me. I don't care if he's 71. He's still 6'9".
Maybe he's 75 then, or 75.
Yeah,
I'd say when he's like 86, maybe. You can't do much when you're 86.
That's pushing it.
There's not much you can do when you're 86.
But you're Kemper.
You're Kemper. Kemper finds a way.
Kemper's the guy. But that pretty much wraps up the episode.
Yeah, it's a good one. And if you wanna like kind of have a good other thing to watch about him, like if you're interested more, Mindhunters, I'm gonna give that a watch. I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen
that.
2 seasons they have right now, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I want to watch it. I was
They dive into a lot of serial killers.
Yeah, they get into a lot.
BTK killer. And
Charles Manson. Yeah, they get a few of them.
Obviously. Yeah, it's a really good show.
It's on Netflix if you have a Netflix account.
Yeah.
Or if you're stealing a Netflix account.
Which is probably more likely.
Who doesn't, Yeah. Netflix even's okay with it. It's whatever.
Whatever. So thank you for listening. Don't forget to comment on the YouTube. Hit us up on all social medias. We don't have to go over this every time, but
you can hit the subscribe button. That's something you can do.
You could hit that subscribe.
It's nice and red, or it's gray on your phone.
Anything helps.
You have night mode on.
Anything helps, man. So,
it's true. Everything does help.
So we appreciate the love. Keep it going. We're not slowing down. We're speeding up. If anything,
wow, you had some bars there.
We're doing good. So thanks to your guys' help.
We're playing chess. Well, everyone else is playing checkers.
I honestly don't even know how to play chess, so
I'll teach you later.
I'm still playing checkers.
We're all playing checkers. Checkers is more fun.
Yeah,
I'll say that much. Chess, you have to think. Who likes thinking?
Who wants to do that?
Yeah, but that's the end of this one.
That's it. So
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The World Within.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do.
Join our Patreon, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and catch us next week. Thank you